within IntelliJ, go ahead and select the resources folder under src, main, and inside you see that we have resources. So create a new file in here, and this will be called application dot, and then in here, let's just say YAML. Now, within this application.yaml, this is how we can configure various aspects of our Spring Boot application. And one of them is the server, so the embedded server. So let's say that we want to change the port. So currently it's running on port 8080. If we want to change the port, we could just say server, and you can see that we can change various things. So server, and this is YAML syntax, so server port, and this can be, let's say 3000, for example. So here we are changing the port, and you can see 3000. Now, if I run the application, and then you can see that if I scroll to the right, so the port now is 3000. If I go back to Chrome, and in here, if I try 8080, I get nothing. So site can't be reached because there's nothing running on that port. But instead, we change it to run on port 3000. So 3000, just like that. And you can see the white label error page. We'll change this in a second, but currently I'm just showing you how you can change your web server. Also, let's say that you want to build a Spring Boot application without a web server. So how do you turn off the web server? Well, if I go back to IntelliJ and then hide, and in here, what I want to say is Spring, and then main, and then web application, and then type. And here you can see that the default is servlet, or I can say none. Now, if I run this, and by the way, just make sure that the indentation is correct. So server colon, and then port colon, Spring, main, and then just follow the exact same thing as you see here. And this is what's called the YAML syntax. If I reload now, and you can see that the application just started, and basically we disable the web server. So there's nothing running anywhere, right? So you can see that it just ran, and it just died. So here, I don't think that you ever want to create an application. Maybe yes, maybe not, but most of the times this will be, so here will be servlet or reactive. So let's just stick with servlet. If you don't want to include this at all, you can delete it, but the default is servlet. If I run, you can see that now it's running on port 3000. You can see that now it's running on port 3000 in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this back to 8080. Reload. And you can see that it's on port 8080. Now, if you want to learn more about how to configure, how to change your configuration, you can go to this link where I'm going to leave under the description of this video, where you can find the entire documentation. So this is the official documentation, and you can see that each Spring Boot application includes an embedded web server, how to use another web server. So if you want to switch from Tomcat to Jetty, for example, this is how you do it. So basically you exclude, and then you say just use Jetty instead. Here you can see that if you want to, so if I scroll down, if you want to disable the web server as we've done, if you want to change the port, you can use a random port, and basically you can do a bunch of things, right? And also what I didn't show you is that we have properties syntax or YAML version. So in here, have a look. We have this syntax or properties, which is Spring dot, and then basically using the dot syntax, Spring dot main web application, so on and so forth. So we'll cover the application.properties or YAML file later. But for now, if you want to learn more about, for example, how to configure SSL, HTTP2, so on and so forth, even running behind a proxy, access logging, you can basically find the documentation in here. This is all for now. Catch me on the next one.